Hello and welcome, very much welcome, to the Zero Space Program. This is obviously Kerbal Space Program, now on version 1.0 or 1 point something, but it is out, it is feature complete. I've been wanting to cover this game forever, since I bought into the alpha ages ago. But they kept updating it and adding new features, and I felt I don't constantly have to be going back and rehashing stuff, so instead waited till 1.0. I think it was the right thing to do, and we are going to do a space program together. Now, how I'm going to do this is, this isn't a career mode, so there are no restrictions, no unlocks or anything like that. Instead, we're just going to do sort of a free-form series of challenges that build up to bigger and bigger things and see how it plays out. I might consider doing a career later on, but for the moment it's not on the cards. So, without any further ado, what is on the cards for today? Today's mission is, well, probably the first part of a multi-part mission actually, is to get our head round aerodynamics. The reason that we're starting here is, even though some people would consider space flight to be easier, launch a rocket vertically, you know, if you fly like I do, which is completely with your balls rather than your brain, and you just overpower gravity rather than using any sort of nuance or plotting a trajectory that's fuel efficient, it is easier. But now all the aerodynamics are in, and you know the vessel can break up on re-entry, and you have to deploy heat shielding and all kinds of things to sort of counteract that. It seems worthwhile trying to get your head around how things behave in the atmosphere. I haven't touched this game since a few versions ago, so there's going to be a bunch of stuff that's new to me. I think that's the best way to make a playthrough like this. So we're going to need the hangar. And the first thing I'm going to do is, our mission is to fly to the pole. Which pole? Not entirely sure yet. I think the south is a little bit nearer, but the north is a more enticing goal, I think, because of that extra distance. Now, I've given it some thought, and realistically, I mean, of course it's going to take a lot of fuel to get to either pole. Certainly I don't think a return journey is possible without modding or refueling at the site. We could always launch a fuel station, I suppose. The interesting thing will be how to construct a craft that's going to be capable of doing it without over-engineering it. I mean, the problem is that the more complexity you add, sure, you add more capability, but you add weight, you add drag, and I've got this idea to build something that sheds weight as it goes, so very much how an experienced player would create a spacecraft. We're going to have different parts of the aircraft drop off as they become expendable, as they become completely useless. So I'm going to stop the video here, and I'm going to begin mocking something up, and then I'll check back in with you before we do a test flight. So there were way more new parts than I'd anticipated, which is a good thing, and we will go through them at some point. I will do the rest of the build stages with you, but this is really about building something small to sort of test the theory, and what I've done is selected the lightest parts and the most fuel efficient engine I could, and tried to... It looks ridiculous, first of all, and I appreciate it looks ridiculous, but you've got to understand, sort of, try and imagine it as the nose piece of a much larger aircraft that's going to sort of come to pieces as it flies, but in a good way, not in a we're all going to die kind of sense. So here's my prototype. I had some resolution problems, by the way, off camera, so if this looks weird, I apologise. I won't know until I'm done. This looks stupid. I understand. And I know it looks unbalanced, but if we get the centre of mass and the centre of thrust and the centre of lift, everything is aligned, although I only just noticed now that apparently aerodynamically this thing's pulling itself into the ground, which was not intended. Fuck it. We'll just see what happens. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so yeah, the it is a bit uneven on the old landing gear, but that's not necessarily a problem. because it is pointing the nose upwards, which is good. I've avoided using drag chutes. Normally I have them, but you know, weight, drag, all that kind of stuff. I've also got 2 air intakes, which feels like overkill, but we'll soon find out. Fly. Oh, that doesn't feel good at all. No. No. Nice. Okay, now the arrow is pointing in the right direction. I still don't know what's going to happen. Let's get rid of these indicators. Still looks ridiculous, but could still viably make the nose section of something bigger, I hope. I think I've probably messed up my landing gear, but it is steerable, so sod it, it'll be fine. On the road again. The arse does drag on the floor a bit. Well, hold on. Let's not be critical. Alright, now we can be critical. You ever sometimes feel you're kind of making a problem worse? Yes, tighten that sphincter. Now, come on, it looks stupid, but that's pretty smooth. It took off on its own, by the way. I didn't pull back on the stick. That too could be a problem. Let me try twisting back a bit and locking the SAS. Is that still tilting? I don't know. We might have a winner. Let's see if it can fly. I mean, maneuver. It is flying. I don't know, it's turning. It's putting up a bit of a fight, but it is turning. I think we can chalk up a victory here. I don't want to get overconfident because it doesn't feel great, but you know, lots of things don't feel great, but we do them anyway. Some people go jogging on Boxing Day. Okay, I'm going to have to lower the thrust to get this thing down. And I didn't put a wheel under the arse, so there is a distinct possibility we might tear our arse off when we land. And we're not going to land on that mountain range because that would be even more ridiculous. But let's see if I can't bring it round with a gentle maneuver. Come on. I said it handled badly, and it doesn't. You're just going to be very, very gentle with it because I think it's a bit too wide. I think that's fair to say. But, you know, we're not trying to fit it in a fucking elevator, so... I mean, I was going for, you know, the gliding characteristics more than anything else because there's a chance to get to our destination it's going to have to run out of fuel. In fact, we can simulate that right now by turning the engine off. Oh, too fast. Way too fast. I'm a terrible pilot as well, which is another reason why this might be a good playthrough. Am I going to run out of space if I try and land it over that way? Well, maybe not. Let's just sweep off a bit of speed. I should have done another orbit of the Space Center, really, but here we go. I'm landing whether I want to or not. Easy now. Easy. Twat. I think we can all basically agree that that looks a lot better. We've gone for a sort of Harrier jump jet style with needless extra wheels all over the place. I've also added 2 drogue chutes. I don't think the violently successful explosion we encountered last time was necessarily due to... Why isn't that engine firing? Oh, bollocks. Bit of a schoolboy error there. Did you spot it? Anyway, as I was saying, I don't think the crash last time was necessarily a... Oh, fuck everything. May have been a bit aggressive on the gas. Also, I think it's that it's wobbling on the extra wheels, which is not going to do us any favours. So let's hope we can get off the ground. This is obviously a design flaw, but yeah, it's doing it again. Sometimes, nobody knows why, but stupid and ugly ideas are inexplicably successful. Just look at Susan Boyle or the selfie stick. So we're back with the ridiculous landing gear. That does seem to work. And I'm going to immediately, because we want to land in one piece ideally, sweep off speed. I just want it to get airborne. Stability is still really reasonable. I was going to say good, but we both know that would be a hollow charade, really. Now, maybe, if the gods are smiling upon us, we can land back on the runway. Keeping it on the runway isn't really my forte. I'm more in the way of violent explosions, but if I can line this up, maybe we have a first on mission 1. I don't know if you can hear that keyboard clacking, but if you can, I apologise. Need a bit of thrust. Too slow. Okay, Houston. Let's see. It does create lift, so obviously last time we just stalled it out. We won't make the same mistake again. Leave the engines on. Coming in a wee bit fast again, but that's fine. It's also got a novel feature where if I try and steer it on the runway while taking off, it will catapult itself into the air in a bizarre sideways manner. Oh, don't want to land on a hill, do we? Well, to be honest, I'll take any landing at this point. I just need to test that this works. Oh, we're still about 10 feet in the air. Shit, shit, shit. Oh, come on, that last explosion was just needless. Well, whatever, I'm calling it. I'd say that was successful. He's not dead, look, he's fine. There's just some occasional explosion. It would have landed, but I mean, the problem is, with these textures, it's very hard, if the sun's not on your side, to tell your altitude, because you're relying on the shadow. Because this up here is your altitude to sea level, which I think is wrong, but whatever. Thank you very much for joining me. See you in part 2, where we will try and expand upon this design.